Alright, I am back again. Third time's a try. Maybe I can get through this video this time. Like always, I'm going to try to remember to put links in the description to all the things I'm going to cover. I'm not driving, so I can look at my notes. Yes, I took notes for this because I have several things I'm wanting to cover. The first thing is Trump lost his appeal to keep from having his financials handed over to the House of Representatives. Let me just start by saying I think it's a bunch of bull crap that you're expected to hand over your financials. It's none of your business how much you make, how much you got. As far as I don't care. In my mind, that's private information and no one else needs to know that. I don't care what office you're running for. It's none of your concern. And plus, I know what it's going to be used for. I legitimately do. I know they're hiding and saying, his attorney, former attorney Cohen said that there were times he would inflate his, overinflate how much he had claimed to have, and he claimed to have less than he had, and stuff like that. They're using that to set up for fraud, I know. Here's the thing. That's what they're claiming. What they're really wanting to know is, and notice the people pushing for this the most are the ones who've been claiming he's not really worth all that much. This is just to they're hoping that he's not worth anywhere near as much as he's claiming. That way they can laugh at him, use this to make fun of him. That's all it is. You know, especially if the things with Ukraine, the Ukraine impeachment hearings blow up, which happens to be the next thing I want to cover right quick. And that is the attorney of the whistleblower is petitioning to make sure that his client or their client does not appear before Congress in person. Just submit a written testimony. Well, I have some issues with that. First off, if you're going to go after a public official, sitting public official, and make such claims like this, you got to understand, there's probably going to be hearings at some point, and you've got to be prepared for the fallout. There are consequences for your action, no matter how noble. In this case, it's going to be, you're going to wind up at some point in time having to testify in person. And I know they're claiming this is an inquiry. It's really more of a one-sided hearing. But at some point in time, if it does go forward, and they're really wanting it to go forward, the whistleblower is going to have to testify. And yes, they are covered by whistleblowing laws, so I don't see why they're so worried. But at some point, they will have to testify. Because it is a right for everyone to face their accuser. You can't go after a written statement like this, and this is not an accuser. Another person is your accuser. So the whistleblower will have to appear. And by the way, interesting side note, in one of the articles, it mentions that the whistleblower is known to have worked with, is a known Democrat and has been known to work with Democrat candidates, including quite possibly Joe Biden. Coincidence? We'll see how that turns out. And next thing is Hillary 2020. Yes, apparently she's been making comments about running. Stuff about don't tempt me. And she made comments about maybe we need to have a rematch. That she could beat him this time. Let me tell you something, Hillary. The only reason you got as many votes as you did, two real reasons. One, you had the Never Trumpers. And two, you had people who thought, oh, it would be so cool to elect the first woman president. Because they did say that. Same as they said it'd be so cool to elect the first black president with Obama. They didn't like you. The vast majority wanted Bernie, but the DNC screwed him over royally to get you in. Quite frankly, I wish you'd just go away and retire and stay out of the public limelight, please. And speaking of the Democrat Party rigging elections, I'll have to find the link to this story. I don't have it queued up to share because I kind of forgotten about it. But Tulsi Gabbard, I think it is, Gabbard, has come out and said that the DNC is trying to rig the elections. Imagine that! Like they totally did against Bernie. Yeah. Apparently they didn't quite learn in 2016. They're trying up to their same tricks to make sure Biden gets in. Who's been saying that all along? Hi. Next story. I've got two more. Next story. First, it was the Tide Pod Challenge. Then it was the Hot Water Challenge. Now, it's the Fire Challenge. Because apparently, the big thing is for teenagers right now, the growing fad, is to douse yourself in flammable chemicals and set yourself on fire. Why? I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I have done incredibly stupid things. I probably will look back and think of a dozen stupid things I've done just today. I've never really wanted to set myself on fire. Never thought about it. And the worst part is, there's several things about it. First, these people are eventually going to wind up voting and making decisions. They are the future. Be afraid. The next thing is that this is the type of people that you kind of wish it wasn't a human rights violation to sterilize, because not only are they the group of people that really should not be reproducing, they're the ones that will not only reproduce, but reproduce at the highest rate. Congratulations! More proof of dumbing down of the world as a whole. Speaking of dumbing down the world, let's talk about this Roosevelt Rapley. Apparently he was trying to rob a Dollar General store at gunpoint. The clerk pulled out his own gun and shot him in the chest, killing him. The family thinks it's a criminal offense to defend yourself from a guy holding a loaded gun on you, when out of the 10 siblings, Rapley siblings, this Roosevelt was the second to die in this manner. Not one, but two. So 20% of the Rapley children are violent criminals. And if you commit armed robbery, let's face it, violent criminal. But they think there was nothing wrong with him. It was the clerk's fault for defending himself. Let me tell you something. I'm not one for violence. I don't want to go around. I don't want to see anyone die. But let me tell you this. If you go around waving a loaded gun in people's faces, you get what you deserve. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Play violent games, get violent surprises. That's how it works. It really makes you wonder where we as a country and the world in general, the path we're going. It genuinely does, and it worries me a great deal. Because as I mentioned, it seems like people are getting dumber by the minute. And they don't want to accept responsibility for what they do wrong. If anything, they want to justify it and condemn anyone and anything that tries to stop them, even if it's in self-defense, trying to save their own lives, literally. That is especially in the case of Roosevelt Rapley. I don't like what I'm seeing. And this, we get right back again to my statements on gun control. They're saying it's gun violence problem? No. There's a lot of things going wrong. If you step back and look at the big picture, you'll see violence with guns is not the problem. It's just another symptom of the problem. Because I mentioned two, really, the fire challenge and the Roosevelt Rapley as proof, just right there. Right there, just proof. See, look. I know it's backwards. Hillary 2020. Fire challenge. And you can kind of see Roosevelt Rapley. I know it's backwards and I do apologize. My handwriting sucks. But 2 cases right there. 3 if you support anyone wanting to support Hillary Clinton after this or believing the Democrats wouldn't try to rig the elections again. How much more proof do you need, people? That common sense is being lost. That common decency is being lost. That the value of human life is being lost. I don't know how much more you need when children or teenagers are literally setting themselves on fire for fun. How much more proof do you need? That's just something to ponder. That's all I've got I was planning on speaking to you about. Let me know what you think. Enjoy the ride. I know I'm not going to. Later.